Good morning, grade 11s. It is Friday morning, May the 8th, as you are watching this. And as we go into Friday, I want to first give you a verse of the day today. Now, the verse of the day is a really short verse. In fact, one of the shortest verses in the Bible, but maybe one of the most profound. But it is in the middle of a sentence, and we're going to look at the whole sentence. But first of all, the verse of the day, just single verse, is from 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 17, where it simply says, "Pray continually." Now, that verse is in the middle of a sentence, and the sentence and the paragraph that goes along with it is from 1 Thessalonians 5:13 on through 19, and within that there's a list of things that we are to do. And just a few of those things are this. It says, live in peace with each other, encourage each other, help the weak, be patient with everyone, be joyful always, pray continually, and give thanks in all circumstances. So I encourage you to do that today. If you want to read 1 Thessalonians, you could do so. That would be a good activity for you to do, and you would be able to get all those verses within the context of what Paul was writing to the Thessalonians. All right, yesterday we looked at vibrating strings a little bit, and you had some questions to do on changing frequencies, changing tones, changing pitches, in order, you had those questions to do. I didn't get any questions on them, but if you do have questions, make sure you email me and I'll be able to cover any questions that you have in future videos. Today we want to talk about are two different things. We're going to talk about the quality of sound, and we're going to talk about something called mechanical resonance. And a little precursor what's coming, there is no assignment today. But the information that I'm going to share with you today is important for you to remember as we move forward in this unit. So, quality of sound. So, every sound has a particular quality to it, and in case of vibrating strings, when a string vibrates, we're in what's called a fundamental mode. And a fundamental mode is that it is in one segment, and there is a node at each end. So a typical guitar string, or if you stretch an elastic band and pluck it, right? When you just do that, it is vibrating in its fundamental mode, and it will be at its lowest frequency, which obviously gives us the lowest pitch then. All right. Now, with all sounds, with the exception of a tuning fork, which I'll play for you in a moment, with all other things that make sound, there are overtones. Right? And overtones are when the strings are vibrating in more than one segment, so it's not a pure sound. Okay? And stringed instruments like guitars, violins, basses, etc., they vibrate in a series of complex mixtures of overtones superimposed on the fundamental. And all that does is it changes the quality of sound, but it also allows us to hear the difference between a C played on a piano, played on a guitar, sung by a singer, right? Those overtones would allow us to distinguish the sound from various instruments, right? A C on a piano sounds slightly different than a C on a piano. It's the same frequency, the same tone, but you can tell the difference, right? You can tell, hey, that's played on a piano, that's played on a guitar. If it was the same, music would be less interesting, right? All right, so when we have a tuning fork, and I'm gonna try to play a tuning fork for you, a couple of them, and hopefully you'll be able to hear them. I'll try to hold it up toward the mic, but this is a C. It's 256 hertz C, and if I play it, so you play a tuning fork simply by tapping it, and it gives you this sound. I'll hold it over here. Hopefully you can see it, so it's vibrating. There's the sound of a C. And I hope you could hear that. We'll find out. Let's go down to a G. Here's a G, 384 hertz. There you go. All right. And so tuning forks play a perfect quality of sound. There are no overtones in a tuning fork. Let's go down to an A. Sure. Okay. An A is 426.7 hertz. Here we go. There you go, I can hear that one nice. Okay, and finally we'll do a C that is an octave higher than the one we played earlier, 512 hertz. Go. Okay, there we go. So what I want to show you here quickly though, is as we played those tuning forks, there's something called an oscilloscope. I don't know if you've ever seen an oscilloscope. It's one of those, it's got a circle, if you've seen the old movies, it's a circle, and it's got a little green dot that sort of goes up and down in a wave pattern. Okay? If you were to use an oscilloscope on a tuning fork, you would get a perfect wave, a perfectly symmetrical wave. Okay? So that'd be a tuning fork. If you were to play that same note on a, I don't know, pick an instrument. Let's say a clarinet. Okay? On a clarinet, that might look like this, okay? Where it still has the up and down, but there's all these little overtones within it, all right? And so it's still a note, it's still a C or an A or whatever note we're playing, but these overtones allow us to tell that it's a clarinet, right? And if we sang that note, it would look slightly different again, and again, that would tell us, help us distinguish what instrument was making that tone. All right, so that's basically what the quality is, and the closer you can get to this, the better quality of sound you will have. But again, we don't want all sounds to be like this, right? If every C was exactly like this, music would not be very interesting, right? We want those different tones in there in order to make music interesting. All right, we're gonna go over to the other board. We're gonna talk about something called mechanical resonance. So resonance is simply a fancy word for vibration, okay? When something resonates, it is because it is vibrating in sequence with something else. Now, mechanical resonance, all mechanical resonance means is that every object, every natural object has a natural frequency at which it will vibrate. All right, so it's not necessarily vibrating at this particular moment, but it has a frequency at which it will vibrate. Okay, so your bodies have a natural frequency. Glass, walls, bridges, everything has its own natural frequency. Now, what's important here is what happens is when the natural frequency of an object is matched, that object will vibrate at its maximum amplitude. And you've all seen videos somewhere along the way of a singer shattering a glass with a particularly high note, right? Again, that glass has its own natural frequency, and if the singer can match that frequency, so the vibrations and the air molecules from that singer hitting the glass, if the frequencies match, then the glass will vibrate at its maximum frequency or maximum amplitude, and that could break the glass. Okay? Other examples where we use mechanical resonance and this idea of natural frequency without even knowing it is when we push a vehicle that's stuck in snow. Okay? Many of you are getting to be drivers now. If you ever get your vehicle stuck in a snowbank, the way to get it out is to rock your vehicle. You get your vehicle moving backwards and forwards. And the best way to do it is to try to match the natural frequency so that you will be vibrating at a maximum amplitude, and then that maximum amplitude can pop you out of the rut and you can drive on your way. Okay? When you push a sibling or a younger member of your family on a swing, to keep them going nicely, you push them at their natural frequency. You don't have to push hard, you just have to match the frequency, and they will achieve their maximum amplitude by pushing them at a particular frequency. Okay, so things like that is where we use the idea, the concept of mechanical resonance in science. Now, two other examples. One, back in the days when armies would march, armies typically march what's called in step. You know, the whole left, right, they march in step. Now, when armies would march over long distances and they would march over bridges, they would be commanded to break step so that they're not all stepping left, left, right, or left, right. They're not all doing it at the same time. Because if they do that at the same time, they're going to create a frequency. They're going to go left, right, and that could cause the bridge to vibrate at a frequency that matches its natural frequency, and it would vibrate at its maximum amplitude, and that could then potentially break the bridge. Okay, there's a famous example, a famous engineering example where a bridge was built and didn't take into effect the ideas of mechanical resonance, and it collapsed. I've included a video on Connect of something called the Tacoma Narrows Bridge. The Tacoma Narrows is in Seattle, Washington, or was in Seattle, Washington. It was a bridge built over the Tacoma Sound. Sound is an inlet of water. Anyway, so this bridge was built over the Sound, and they didn't take into account the ideas of mechanical resonance. And in the video, you can see what happened to that bridge as a wind battered it at a particular frequency that matched its natural frequency. All right, so 2 ideas: quality of sound, mechanical resonance, ideas that you can just put in your memory banks and know some of these things, and know the terms at least. There is no new assignment today, just this information. I want you to enjoy your weekend, catch up on anything you need to catch up on, and if you have questions, you can certainly ask, and we will see you after the weekend. Have a great weekend.